New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn has revealed the truth on the Aaron Rodgers situation and part of the reasons why they let Aaron Rodgers go in free agency and wanted to move on, and why him and GM Darren Mougey came to this decision together, and we're going to break all of it down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris here, and we have a lot to talk about because on top of this, Darren Mougey had a bunch of claims as well about Aaron Rodgers, along with Aaron Glenn, so there's a lot to talk about. But real quick, guys, if you're enjoying these videos, if you're having fun watching, and you're part of that 77% that's not subscribed to Jets Digest, make sure to hit the button. It really does help us out a ton. We're on that grind, multiple videos a day. Draft combine's going on, free agency's about to start, draft news heating up. You guys don't want to miss out right now. Things are about to get insane. Jump on while it's still cool. But Aaron Glenn, man, he spoke out about Aaron Rodgers, about the whole Aaron Rodgers decision. As we all know now, Aaron Rodgers is moving on to a new team, and there's a bunch of teams that are in the mix for him. One of them is the Rams, who have probably been the most common team that we've heard about with their interest in Aaron Rodgers, especially with Matthew Stafford likely at the door. So they've looked a lot towards Aaron Rodgers. Now, look, we could talk about all the suitors for Aaron Rodgers and how and what is going to go down at a later date. But right now, Aaron Glenn spoke out about Aaron Rodgers and all the noise surrounding him and what was true and what wasn't true. And just to take a dive in and look at that, Glenn mentioned nothing. No, I'm kidding. He mentioned, yes, I have talked to Aaron Rodgers, and listen, I understand the reaction of the players who were against it, such as Quinnen Williams saying it'll be another tanking year for him, and other players being upset that Aaron Rodgers was not going to come back. And then Glenn said, I'll say this. Every decision that me and Darren Mougey make is to win, and to win now. Now, that's kind of confusing when you think about it. Aaron Rodgers was the Jets' best chance at winning now to most fans on the outside, myself included. I was like, all right, if they keep Aaron Rodgers around, I imagine they're going to continue to make win now moves and try to make a playoff run next season. But getting rid of Aaron Rodgers, to me, makes me think, yes, you do want to win, but next season might not end up being a winning season. It might be what the Lions did, which was a losing season the first year in order to break things down, build up a culture, and build up with the guys who want to be here, such as Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, many other names as well. Most of the young guys who are happy here, it's going to be huge to have them around. I mean, Sauce has been adamant that he has no interest in leaving the New York Jets. And we're already seeing rookies or potential rookies coming in have serious interest in playing for Aaron Glenn. And we will talk about that, so stay tuned for that video as well. But obviously, with Aaron Rodgers here, a lot of players were against this, saying he's a great guy, it's the best chance we have to win. Aaron Glenn disagrees, and it seems as if Darren Mougey does as well, as they both spoke about it. Now, Aaron Glenn had more to say, though. Glenn said, listen, this is not going to be the last decision I make that's going to upset some people, and that's okay. But as men, we talk about it. We make sure it's kept in-house, and that's what we're going to continue to do, which is an interesting claim considering the fact that so much got leaked to the media last season, and definitely having Aaron Rodgers not on the team there will definitely be a little bit of a diminishing in how much the spotlight the Jets are in, because Aaron Rodgers is one of the biggest names in the NFL, so obviously that's going to happen. The Jets, without having one of the biggest names in the NFL, things will be a little more subdued, and Aaron Glenn and Darren Mougey will get a good chance to try to keep things in-house and talk about things. And I mean, this definitely is referring to guys who are upset about it and openly said they want Aaron Rodgers back, specifically Quinnen Williams. And Glenn said he's talking to all of them. He wants to make sure that everyone's on the same page with what he's doing and understand why he's going to do these moves. Even if they don't like it, that he will give them a real reason. They will discuss things. And it's great. It's what you love to hear from a guy like Aaron Glenn, who's like, yeah, sometimes you guys are not going to love everything I do. My job is to make you guys the best at what you do. My job is for us to win football games, and I'm doing what I believe is right for that. Now, even if people disagree with it, we have to realize Aaron Glenn's on this team for the next couple of years as the head coach, and if things go well, he's going to be the head coach for a very long time with the New York Jets. Glenn was open about this being his last stop as a coach because he intends to coach the rest of his career as a New York Jets head coach, which you love to hear. And I mean, everything they've done, they've been so adamant, both Glenn and Mougey, about trying to win now, that everything they're gonna do is to win in the near future, win right now. Don't wake up and say, well, we're not sure. They want to set a precedent that, yeah, the roster might end up losing a ton of games. The team might have a bad record next season, but they're not going to be happy about it. They're doing it, and they're building the team the correct way. But Aaron Glenn is not sitting around like, well, you know the deal, we're tanking. No, Glenn is going to be like, no, we're not trying to tank. Who cares if we're 3-11? You guys go out there and you show something. And look, I know as fans, we'll be like, no, we want that draft pick. We want Arch Manning. We want Nico Iamaleava. We want Drew Aller. We need a top 1 preferably, but a top 3 overall pick. And it's like, of course. And Darren Mougey's not dumb. I don't think. He wants one as well. But also if the Jets can win other ways, they're going to do that too, because the Jets want to win. They want to turn things around. They want to be the regime that fixes everything, because then you get a ton of good press for the rest of your careers if you could fix the Jets. They are the punchline of the major American sports because there has been a good decade and a half without any playoff football games. So obviously, it makes sense why they want to do this the way they want to do this. And they're not trying to set a precedent of like, oh, it's going to be a long time. They don't want to build that culture that losing a single game is okay, messing up once is okay. They don't want to build that. They don't want to do what the last regime did with Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich patting everyone's back. Like, it's all right, we'll get him next time. That's not how Aaron Glenn operates, and that's not how Darren Mougey's going to operate as well. And as Jets fans, that is a good thing for us to see. That is a very positive thing. And speaking of Darren Mougey, who also spoke about the Rodgers thing, he cleared the air saying, I will say this, there was never an ultimatum or rules of engagement for Aaron to potentially join the Jets. That never happened. AG and I had a lot of dialogue, a lot of conversations, a lot of good thoughts, and just felt at the end of the day, it was the best thing for the Jets moving forwards to go in a different direction at the quarterback position. Why? Because even if they're trying to win games, they're trying to build the team at the same time. And if that comes with losses, it comes with losses that Aaron Glenn is not going to excuse. But at the same time, it's going to come with a lot of growth, and it's going to come with bettering the team over the long term. Don't get too caught up in the win now stuff. Yes, they want to win now. They don't want to lose next season. But they're okay with it if it means they get a top draft pick and get to figure their quarterback situation out. Here's the real thing behind the Aaron Rodgers stuff, guys. If Aaron Rodgers led the Jets to a 10-7 season next year, yeah, maybe they'd make the playoffs. They might not in the AFC. They might miss with 10-7. It's possible. They probably would make it. But there's like a good 20% chance they'd miss. If they did that and either made it as the 7th seed or missed, and then Rodgers retires, like he's probably going to because he's in his 40s, you then have to pick up the pieces around that. And we've seen the Tampa Bay Buccaneers struggle and middle out since Tom Brady left because they couldn't get things together. Obviously, Tom Brady retired, came back, played that year. It was very middle of the road for everyone involved already. They did make the playoffs, ultimately got bounced. But at the end of the day, what we've seen is them, yes, revive Baker Mayfield's career, and that's been great. But Baker's not winning them that much. The Bucs have never really recovered and gotten back to that Super Bowl winning level. And part of that's because players aren't lining up to play with one of the greatest players of all time. That was going to happen with the Jets as well. Glenn and Mougey wanted to avoid that. I guarantee that was part of it. It's not like Rodgers was a bad option at quarterback. He was great. Yeah, the 5-12 record's not good, but nearly 4,000 yards, 6.7 yards per attempt, 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers was good last year, especially at the end of the year. But where the New York Jets stands now, where everything stands, they think this is the best path to winning, and there's a really, really good argument for that because it prevents middling out and everyone getting fired. Because unlike the Jets next year, they would probably not win the Super Bowl. They had a top 5 roster talent-wise last season. They should have made the playoffs. They should have been one of the best teams in the AFC. But that's beside the point. We all know that a big part of that reason was Greg Zuerlein absolutely just failing miserably, and also then Woody Johnson firing Robert Saleh in a massive mistake. But here we are. Can't really look at the past. Where things stand now, the Jets would have middled out, and then they would have been stuck left to pick up the pieces without Aaron Rodgers, and guys would not want to go back to tanking after. This is very, very arguably the right move, and I'm going to trust them. I really am. Now, the Jets still do have a veteran quarterback on roster in Tyrod Taylor, who only played in 2 games last season, threw 119 yards in those games, 5.4 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. For his career, 28, 1, 61%, 62 really, completion percentage, 12,254 yards, 7 yards per attempt. Look, he very likely could be the Jets starting quarterback next year as a tank commander and also a good guy to have in the locker room. Or the Jets draft someone in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round and they want to start him. And no, it probably won't be Jordan Travis because if the Jets draft someone in the middle rounds, guess what? They're playing him over Jordan Travis because they didn't pick Jordan Travis. Though Matt and I have talked about that already, so you guys know that. Guys, let me know what you think down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Jets.